Aufstimmt und er schreit und die Sonne uns lacht. Der Tag liegen heiß, ohne Eiskampf die Nacht.
Welcome to Barbarossa, Day 1, probing the line. This is what I anticipate will be a very prolonged Men of War series, my most recent campaign. Now, Barbarossa was the code name for the German invasion of the Soviet Union, which kicked off in 1941. 4 million troops poured into a front line along the Eastern Front, stretching out around 3,000 kilometers, and it's on record as the largest invasion in the history of warfare. So I hope I do this historic battle justice with this Men of War vid. Like I say, this is day 1, and in this video I'm going to play as the Germans, and my objective will be to just try and gain some ground. I'm just going to ebb forward and attempt to capture some of those initial lines of defence. Simple as that, really. And as you can see from the clips here, pretty formidable German force, almost every conceivable tank you can imagine, backed up with lots of field artillery, supply logistics, thousands of infantry, all ready to roll. The Soviets, very formidable line of defence. Everything you can imagine, trenches, bunkers, tanks, artillery, ready to hold the line. Now this is the map, so I'm going to attempt to capture that first line. Let's see how we do. So just moved up the road there and instantly encountered contact. Tigers are returning fire. So T-34's opened up on me there. So I'm going to try and engage with the Tigers. Need to maybe space these tanks out a bit, they're pretty close at the moment. Infantry are moving up. T-shirts have opened up on me. Lost about 3 Tigers there. Okay, so that proved very costly for me. Katusha opened up barrage and I lost 3 Tigers. And I've not even moved up yet, barely. Feet away from where I started, and I've already lost some heavy tanks. So infantry are still ebbing forward here. Too much enemy artillery at the moment for my tanks to move forward. They're just going to get picked off. So I'm going to try and use the infantry to take out some of these T-34s and Katusha trucks. Maybe then I can move up my tanks. So the infantry are getting utterly obliterated. This is looking like a pretty formidable line. I'm going to try and attempt to start probing their right flank. I've been completely quashed on the centre and left at the moment, and their main line hasn't even seen action yet. Roll forward some Panthers, try and get a couple of tanks to engage T-34. Try and hit that T-34 up there. Deflection. Ah, Katusha barrage. So I lost those Panthers. I'm going to move forward more tanks. I haven't got any choice here. Roll forward Nashorn. Out of range really. I need to get closer. My tanks are very vulnerable right now. So I'm going to use these rockets. These are kind of like a German Katusha, the equivalent of. Pretty powerful I'm going to try and use it to barrage that Russian front line, that trench, take out some of those tanks, and use that as my staging area for a bigger assault. So another barrage coming up. My infantry are currently pinned down, they can't move. So my rocket barrage is proving quite useful here. I'm going to use a land mattress and just roll him forward, and maybe you do apply the same tactic to this left flank. They're barraging me with Katyushas, so I need to return the compliment with my own rockets. Here we go. My rocket barrage seems to have certainly caused some damage, but they're still dug in deep in that trench, and I think the tanks have survived the barrage. I don't think the rockets are denting the armour. My infantry are retreating, pulling back across the whole line. I've barely made a dent. So this is a full retreat. Flawed tactic by me, failed utterly. Lost a lot of tanks, a lot of heavy tanks, valuable assets, and the infantry were completely pinned down, unable to gain any ground at all. And my rocket barrage did little to erode this front line. So the Russians have been hit pretty hard by my barrage, but they're not particularly phased. So that was a failed attack, and the Russians seized the day. General retreat across the line. And if Hitler received this news, I think I'd probably be demoted pretty sharpish. So infantry scattered across my line, pinned down. Well, this is something of an after battle report then, I guess. As you can see from the map, no ground whatsoever was made. The infantry I do have are pinned down, and they're sure they've got close to the front line, but they can't do anything. They've got no support. Whenever I get a tank close, it gets taken out by barrages. So I need to rethink my tactic. So day 2, I'm going to do a much wider scale assault. I'm going to use my numbers to try and brute force my way through their line, because the probe approach of bringing assets forward in smaller groups, trying to use the infantry to take out the area before I roll in my tanks, did not work. And I also learned not to pocket my tanks up into groups because it's vulnerable to Katusha assaults and artillery barrages. So let's return with day 2. Stay tuned.